Today, I want to talk about the 5 stages of facing fear and why I jumped off a bridge. What's up guys, Matty B here and welcome to No Going Back. Now there was a time in my life where I was scared of everything. Spiders, heights, confrontations, disappointing people, relationships, women, and glitter. I wasn't a happy guy and I'd set myself up for a future of disappointment for not living my life to the fullest and not doing things that scared me. Things for me couldn't stay the same. I was miserable and unhappy and I needed a change. I needed to start tackling these things that I was scared of one at a time. A few years ago, I was in New Zealand on a snowboarding holiday. I had no intention of ever bungee jumping. I hated heights and had no inclination that I ever wanted to do a bungee jump. I even said before I left on this holiday, there is no way I'm going on a bungee jump. However, one day when I wasn't snowboarding, I was in the activity center looking for something to do. And for some reason, the thought of bungee jumping just seemed like a good idea. The bus was leaving in 20 minutes to go to the bungee jump, so I didn't have much time to think it through. I signed up, hopped on the bus, and off I went. The bus ride went for an hour and a half. That was the longest hour and a half of my life. As each minute went on, I got more and more scared, more and more panicked. I started breathing heavily. My heart was pounding. I started to panic. I started to think, holy shit, what have I just gotten myself into? When I finally got to the bridge, I was absolutely petrified. So then when I started getting harnessed up, that just made the anxiety and the fear grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was negotiating with myself, do I really have to do this? Maybe I can just chicken out. It won't be such a big deal. No one knows I'm coming here to do a bungee jump, so no one will be disappointed if I don't. But somehow I managed to talk myself into, okay, just get towards the ledge and have a look. Maybe it's not that bad. So I shuffle over to the ledge, closer and closer and closer, because your feet are bound. So I'm shuffling closer and closer and closer. I look over the edge and I just about shit myself. It was way too high and I just start to panic and hyperventilate and breathe heavily. The guy hooking me up to the cable was seriously worried about me. He said, if you want to back out, you can. No one will judge you, but it is going to be the most amazing thing you'll ever feel. So I'm standing there, hyperventilating, breathing heavily, heart's pounding, shaking, absolutely trembling more than I've ever shook in my entire life. And he gives me the count. 3, 2, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. 1, and I just step off. I leap forward. My stomach drops, and then I fall. Everything seemed to be simultaneously in slow motion and sped up. And then I hit the bottom of the jump. And the feeling was incredible. I had such a rush. The adrenaline was coursing through my veins. When I got off the rope and got to the bottom of the hill, I was so amped up. It was the most amazing feeling I have ever had. From being so utterly terrified before to doing the jump and having the most incredible adrenaline rush and feeling of accomplishment that I've ever experienced in my life. That was the moment that I learned that the things that scare you the most are the most important things that you do, because that is where the biggest growth happens. That is where the greatest reward happens. And those are the moments that build the confidence in yourself to start living a life truer to who you are. And it was that moment, that realization for me, that gave me the confidence and the courage to tackle things that scared me even more. So what are the 5 stages of facing fear? Stage 1, confidence. At the beginning, every time you have an idea or make a choice to do something that scares you, it seems like the best idea you've ever had. I absolutely can do this. I'm so pumped up. This is going to happen. I'm so confident. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is doubt. After the novelty of the new idea wears off, that initial bout of motivation and confidence from this is such a great idea, what starts to creep in is the doubt. You then start to think, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Why did I agree to do this? Why am I doing this? This is not right. This is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. And at first it's a whisper, but then it gets louder and louder and louder. Stage 3 is negotiation. This is the moment where you start looking for every possible piece of evidence why you shouldn't do this. This is essentially where you're at the fork in the road. You can go through with this thing that scares the shit out of you, or you can withdraw. You can back out. You can go the other path. You can go the safe path, the path of least resistance. A lot of the times, most people get stuck at stage 3 negotiation because we end up finding overwhelming evidence why we shouldn't do this. And we back off and we take the path of least resistance because it's safe. It's not scary. We know what's in there. So we never follow through. If you can manage to get through stage 3 negotiation, then the next stage, stage 4, is the leap of faith. This is the moment where, in spite of all of the evidence why you shouldn't do it, in spite of all the fear, you follow through. You do the thing that scares you. This is the moment where courage is forged. A lot of people think courage is the absence of fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting on something in spite of fear being present. It's following through with something in spite of the fear. That's courage. Some of the moments in myself that I attribute to being my most courageous, I was shitting myself, but I did it anyway. The leap of faith, in my opinion, is the single most important stage of facing fear. This is the part where you can't guarantee the outcome's going to be good. You're absolutely scared shitless. There's all this evidence why you shouldn't do it, but you do it anyway. Then comes stage 5, the reward. This is the moment you realize the things that scare you the most are the most important things that you do because they give you the greatest growth. This is the part that builds massive amounts of confidence because you have just done something that scared the shit out of you. You couldn't guarantee it was going to end well, but you followed through with it, and now you're safe. But not only that, you're a better version of yourself because you did something that scared you. You learned that that thing that scared me, that fear was all in my head. And despite it trying to talk me out of it and stop me from doing this, I did it anyway. And that builds massive confidence, which ironically is step number 1, because this is all cyclical. It's not like you do this once and that's it. This happens every time you want to do something that scares you. But the beauty of it is, if you get to stage 5 in facing a fear, the confidence you get from that feeds into stage 1 of doing it again the next time. So the next time you go to do something that scares you, it's so much easier because you have that evidence to show this thing scared me. I did it anyway. I turned out fine. And not only that, I loved the feeling of accomplishment I got from it that you then take forward with you when you face the next thing that scares you. It's essentially the hero's journey. You end up back in the same place you were back at step 1, but you're a completely changed person, better able to tackle the next challenge that comes along. Not only that, but facing that fear, the thing that scared you, getting that reward makes you want to do the next thing that scares you. It makes you want to do something even scarier. So you start to gain momentum towards being a braver, stronger, more courageous version of yourself. Every brave person you know, every person who you look up to as being courageous or as doing things that scare the shit out of you and you wonder how they do it, they all go through these stages. Every single human being who faces something that scares them is going to go through stages just like this. It's normal to feel these things, but remember that courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting upon something in spite of fear being present. So I encourage you, find something that scares you and go after it. Do it. Acknowledge that fear is present. You don't need to hide it. You don't need to beat it. You don't need to run from it. Use it. Understand it's there. Do the thing that scares you anyway. You'll be a much better version of yourself, and you might just start to build a little momentum to becoming the person you were meant to be. So go out and get after it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, I'm Matty B, and be kind to one another.